Now let us proceed with our discussions on the outcome-based educations. These are the characteristics of the curricula adopting the outcome-based educations. You know that outcome-based educations involve a series of outcomes and objectives. These include the course outcome, program outcome, and also program objectives. These PEO, PO, and CO define the expectations of a program and the course in meeting the needs of the students and also the stakeholders. This establishes the purpose of this program. Now, how do we know that the program is actually meeting those requirements? This will require the objectives and the outcomes of the program to be able to be assessed and also evaluated. You will expect there will be a series of assessment done by using various assessment tools. We will need to choose the right tools to do the assessment, and then based on the data acquired, there will be evaluations. We would like to evaluate the performance and the achievement of that particular program. And we will look into the evaluations in 3 various levels, namely course outcome, program outcome, and program objectives. Let's say now we've done the assessment. We want to do some evaluations. The question now it will be, how do we know the achievement, attainment, or the performance of that particular program? This is where the performance indicators, criteria, or rubrics comes in. We will require a series of performance indicators or criteria or rubrics for us to objectively define the performance at various levels of the programs. This needs to be explicitly spelled out, and those indicators should have properly established upfront at the early stage, while establishing the constructive alignments of the CO, PO, and PO. This is about the first 3 characteristics of OBE curricula. And then we have the PO, which is designed to address the knowledge, skills, and attitude. That means the cognitive, psychomotor, and affective. And all this should be attained by the students. And then the course outcome must satisfy the stated POs. Under a program, there are many courses. For each course, there will be 3 to 4 COs. There is no need for any individual course to address all the program outcomes. A typical engineering program will have 11 POs. As long as you make sure that all the courses offered under that particular program collectively serve to that 11 POs, that should be sufficient. We are talking about a program as a whole when it comes to the program outcome level. Next, a good OBE curricula will have the teaching and learning methods to be integrated. There should be a good variety in terms of the delivery methods, instead of heavily reliance on the traditional lecturing method. We mentioned about the importance of the student-centered learning, as the student-centered learning is advantageous in stimulating a series of soft skills as required from the students. And lastly, the learning outcomes are intentional and assessed using suitable performance indicators. Next, let us talk about some issues related to the OBE curricula that we need to take into account while doing the curriculum review. Under the framework of outcome-based educations, there will be continuous improvements, as the outcome-based educations itself constantly monitor the performance of the program and is designed ultimately to meet the needs of the students and the stakeholders. It doesn't only look at the quality of the program, it also connects the programs to the industry. Alongside with the development of the technology, there will always be improvement required within the programs. Therefore, you will expect a periodical curriculum review in order to upgrade the curriculum, update the curriculum. This may involve some modifications, additions, further optimizations of the curriculum so that it meets the needs of the stakeholders more effectively. A typical program will have at least one curriculum review in every academic cycles. Let's say now a typical engineering program is a 4-year program. That means most likely you're going to expect one curriculum review every 4 years. This is so that the curriculum closely meets the demands of the industry. Now, when come to the curriculum review, these are the considerations. First, we will need to look into the breadth and depth of the curriculum. While doing this, you will need to check the curriculum from two main streams. One is from the academic community, another one is from the industrial practitioners. For the academic community, you can do some benchmarking with the local and international universities which are offering similar programs. Look into their curriculum structures, the content of their courses, the breadth of the topics and views covered. You may also seek advice from the external examiners who are very well experienced, particularly related to the accreditations as well as the curriculum redesign. You also need to look into the depth so that it is in line with the accreditations bodies as well as the IEA graduate attributes. As for the inputs from the industrial practitioners, you may also seek advice from the industrial advisory panels coming from various views to look into the curriculum and give suggestions and comments to the curriculum. Not only that, you might need to look into the references. Make sure you update the references that you use in the syllabus. Preferably, the main references that you use should be latest, within 5 years of the publications. While doing this, you require a lot of inputs from your lecturers, especially those who have been teaching the relevant course over the semesters, to relook into the contents of the courses. You will need to consider also to make the curriculum to be more optimized, minimize the redundancy, especially the courses with the requisite or prerequisite requirements. These courses are interconnected. You have to look into the content of these courses so that they can complement each other in the proper sequence. You need to bear in mind that it is not more topic the merrier. When you have too much information, too scattered, the things become losing focus. That's why a typical course will have 3 to 4 outcomes. While designing the curriculum, we are looking into the significant parts, giving priority to those really bringing impacts and those which are really essential. You cannot expect all the topics are fully covered, especially when you want to deal with the depth. Instead of have wide variety of the topic delivered in the shallow manner, normally we prefer a more focused delivery with sufficient depth. This is because the fundamentals of the educations has been transformed from the traditional method, solely delivering the knowledge. Nowadays, the education is actually training the students towards in-depth and critical thinking. This is especially when the current development in terms of the technologies. All sort of informations can be easily accessed through internets. There are various ways and platforms to acquire informations. Now the major problem is not the informations, whether the students can recall the informations. The major problem now it will be how the students synthesize the knowledge. Therefore, the depth is always the top priority in the curriculum design. Next is about the true attainment. What does it mean by true attainment? Remember, previously we talked about some model for the outcome-based educations. There will be result for the students. We use the result to analyze the attainments of the course outcome. And then, based on the attainment status of the course outcome, we anticipate the attainment status of the program outcome. Subsequently, we carry forward the attainment status of the program outcome. We foresee the attainments of the program objectives. What you see, the entire model here, except CO is doing the direct measurements. The rest are pure hypothetical. It is achievable only when the CO, PO, and PO are properly designed. There are constructive alignment between those, and there are strong correlations between those. Now the question here is, how confident are you that all these are really exactly and perfectly aligned? It is possible that you acquire favorable result here. As a part of the computations, you will see the attainment status of the PO and PO are also favorable. But in the reality, the program is not really meeting the purpose and the requirements by the stakeholders. Now this attainment is not true attainment. So when you do the curriculum review, you will need to ensure that there should be a true attainment within the CO, POs and POs. You will need to see that the CO should strongly correlated to the PO, and those PO can really service to the program objectives. And then you should also consider mechanism for you to do the assessment, evaluations, and verifications to check if true attainments of those outcomes and the objectives is really in place. Next, while doing the curriculum review, consider to have a balanced curriculum where there should be a good coverage of the cognitive, psychomotors, and affectives. Your curriculum cannot be 100% cognitive. There should be psychomotor and affective incorporated within the curriculum. And then you will need to look into the purpose of your program. Let's say now bachelor degree of engineering. This kind of program are more towards the cognitives. As we know that this kind of program is producing engineers. The engineers are responsible for the technical advice and supervisions in the construction industry. Let's say for civil engineering. Based on the nature of the work and the responsibility of the engineers, the emphasis should be given to the cognitives. Therefore, while designing the curriculum, it should not be the other way around. The recommendations, it will be cognitive, covering about 70% of the student learning time, and psychomotor, about 30% of the student learning time, and the affective should be incorporated within the program. Next, it will be a variety in terms of the deliveries. This has been highly encouraged, but many programs still reluctant or finding difficulties in transforming from the traditional delivery methods towards newer forms of delivery methods. The variety in terms of the delivery is essential. This allows the program to get in touch, service better to a broader group of the students. Some students may prefer the traditional methods. Some students may prefer the otherwise. Some students like lectures, while some others like hands-on activities. Some students prefer to have final exam, while some students prefer to have capstone project or assignments. If we have a good variety in terms of the delivery and assessment, this will reduce the bias in terms of the assessment, as well as it can accommodate a broader groups of the students. Next, we talk about the constructive alignment. One of the issues with the constructive alignment is that the mappings of the outcomes and the objective are not well understood by the academic staff. You know that the academic staff are responsible in executing the curriculum. Under most circumstances, the academic staff pay more focus on the course outcome, do very little to cross-check if the course outcome really attain to the respective program outcome. That means sometimes there will be misalignment, even though the CO, PO, and PEO are well designed. But when it comes to the implementations, it deviated slightly. So in order to make the alignments to be more effectively constructed, we will have to get the academic staff also know the purpose of the program and know their functions as a part contributing to the POs and PEOs. One of the ways to do so, we will need to involve the academic staff in evaluating and reviewing the attainments of the POs while analyzing the attainments of the COs. CO is just a part of the program. Ultimately, the entire program should serve the functions of servicing the students and the stakeholders. All the academic staff should bear in mind on this. Next problem with the curriculum, it will be limited benchmarking. What does it mean by benchmarking? It means that you make some comparisons of your program against the peers. That means the similar program from the other university in the country and from the international. There are various ways to do the benchmarking. You can do desktop benchmarking, which is cheaper. You don't have to go and visit the universities. You can search through their websites, find the curriculum, their program outcome and program objectives, observe their quality management system, their organization structures, and probably have some ideas in terms of their achievements, in terms of the accreditations. While doing benchmarking, normally we will select the university or the program which perform very well and being recognized under the accrediting bodies. Let's say now for the ESC, the accreditation result, there will be several levels, either full accreditations or full accreditations with interim reports or rejections. While doing the benchmarking, of course, we are looking for the top scorers. The advantage of desktop benchmarking is that you are able to cover many universities at the same time without consuming much cost. But there will be some limitations. You will only see the things that being disclosed from their official websites or the information that you can find from the internet. But if you really need an in-depth benchmarking, you may organize a trip, bring along your CQI committees, visiting their universities, having them to show the details, having good discussions with their CQI committees, some dialogue sections, knowledge sharings, and so on so far. The benchmarking visit will be able to have a more in-depth review and benchmarking of your curriculum with the respective universities. The other issue, it will be the outcome-based approach. Most of the program will have this in place. Now the question it will be, how effective is this OBE approach? Is it just a framework? Is it functioning well? Or is it effective? Next, it will be the CQI, continual quality improvements. The CQI should be done at various levels, at the course level, at the program level, and also at the program objective levels. When it comes to the CQI, it is not just a matter of doing and proposing. We really want to see the improvements. There should be assessment to observe whether improvement is actually in place. Now, if the proposed actions is not effective, we will have to find some other ways to make it effective. Now, the major problem of many programs here, they have the CQI activities carried out. Most are not really doing it right. It is just a matter of proposing and then monitoring the lecturer executing the proposal, and that's it. But if we know that over a period of time there is no drastic improvement, that means those efforts are really went into vain. Something is wrong with the CQI. This is how we know that whether the program is really doing the CQI or not. Do they really understand the CQI? Or just a set of the action, pretending they are doing the CQI, which actually no actual CQI is in place. Another thing they look into, it will be the quality management system. This will be the system as established at the institutional level in order to manage and maintain the quality of the program. This covers a broader context, not only the curriculum, it also covers the quality of the staff, both academics and non-academics. It also covers the management system of that particular institutions or schools, the facilities, the quality control and implementation systems, and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to the accreditations, the OBE and the curriculum is one thing. Another essential part, it will be the quality management system, which covers a broader context. Lastly, it will be the latest development as stipulated by the IEA, the latest versions, version 4. The 17 Sustainable Development Goal (SDG) needs to be incorporated within the program. This can be seen from the program outcomes, as well as the complex engineering problem solvings, and also in the relevant courses attending to certain specific program outcome, as well as the problem solving activities. Therefore, it is essential for an engineering program to always keep update with the latest development and the requirements by the accreditation bodies. In Malaysia, we are talking about Engineering Accreditation Council, and this EAC is very well established. We see rapid growth over the years. From time to time, there are new things to be incorporated. They have been doing the CQI also very actively. We will need to closely monitor the latest development in terms of the requirements by the EAC to keep ourselves updated and grow together with the EAC.